Hi guys, and welcome back to another Fairy Tale Friday. I am going to warn you, if you do not like gore and blood, please click off of this video because it is not a typical fairy tale that you would understand, that you would come to expect. It's pretty gruesome, but let's go ahead and get into it. So the book I'm reading from at the moment is Fairy Tales from Around the World by Andrew Lang. And it's a collection of stories, and this one is called Bluebeard. And I want to see... This is from the Blue Fairy book, and it's called Bluebeard. And this fairy tale is probably the grimmest I have read in all of my life. And I've read quite a few. So, Bluebeard is about this man who was so unfortunate as to have a blue beard. And apparently he was so ugly that nobody would marry him. So he sets his eyes on two daughters from a woman, and he eventually marries one of them. And he's very rich. He has houses upon houses and gold and jewels and all of that fun stuff. So he's very wealthy, and so she does live a very prosperous and happy life until he has to go out of town, basically. He has to go on a trip. So what happens is he gives her the keys to all of his estates and says, please bring your friends over, have a party, be merry, show them all my money, but you can't go into this one room with this key. And he has this little mini key, and it goes into a little closet. And he said, please do not go in there because I will be very upset with you. So she's like, okay, I won't go in there. So she invites her friends over, and they go on over there. And they're super excited, and they're all marveling at all the gold and the jewels and the money and the fancy furniture. And then she is like, well, I'm kind of curious as to what is in the last room. I've gone through all the other rooms. What is in this last room? So it says that she makes haste so quickly down the steps, she would have broken her neck 2 or 3 times. And she runs down the steps, a little back corridor for servants, and she comes upon the closet, and she stands there and she contemplates, how badly do I really want to do this? How badly do I want to face my husband's wrath? In the end, her curiosity wins, and she unlocks the door to a floor covered in clotted blood. And on the walls, there are women, dead women, just hanging out there on the walls. And she drops the key from her hand, and it's a magical key, and so blood gets on the key and she cannot wash it off. So she finally leaves the room, locks it back up, and goes to wash the key. And the key does not, it's magical, it doesn't wash the blood off. So if she gets it off of one side, it will flip to the other side. So she cannot wash this blood off, and she knows that her husband will know that she had been in that room because of the blood on this key. He'll have questions about it. So she goes ahead, and I think he comes home that evening, and he's like, did you have fun? I heard all about it through letters. It sounds like it was a merry time. And she's like, yeah, it was, And he's like, okay, well, where are my keys? And she gives him the keys, all except the little key. And he's like, where is my key? And she's like, oh, I must have left it upstairs. So back and forth happens. She keeps trying to not give the key back to him. And eventually she has to do so. So she gives it to him, and he notices the blood, and he's like, how'd the blood get there? And she's like, no idea. No idea. And he's like, I know why. It's because you opened that door, and that's the only reason that there would be blood on this key. And he says to her, because you have opened that door and have seen inside, you shall take your place among the women. Like, what? Y'all, when I read that, this is dark. Like, you have a room full of blood and dead women. Like, that's like a horror story. Like, I want to know what happened. Probably they went into the room, but like, who was the first one? Like, what? I want to know more about this room and these ladies and what happened. And like, how does nobody know he's gone through women? Like, wouldn't people be like, oh yeah, my daughter married him and died? Like, wouldn't that be the talk of the town? Like, how are these, what? Are they prostitutes? Like, how does nobody know about these missing women? And he just has a, like, he's a psychopath. He's a psychopath. Anyway, so he's like, I'm gonna kill you because you disobeyed me, and now you have to die. And so she's like crying. She's like, I don't want to die. He's like, I'll give you a quarter of an hour. That's it. So she runs upstairs and she asks her sister to go to the top of the tower and ask if she sees her brothers. Because apparently that day, her brothers were supposed to come and visit her. And she has 2 brothers. So her sister goes up there and the lady is like, do you see anything, sister? Do you see anything? And she's like, no, only the sun and the grass. And then he calls to her, like, you gotta come down, like, come down or I will come up and get you. And she says, one more moment, please. And she asks again, what do you see? What do you see? And she's like, up, a flock of sheep. And he's like, you need to get down here. I'm not a patient man. You need to come down here. And she says, one more moment, please. Do you see anything? Do you see anything? Yes, I see your brother's on a horse. And so she says, and then I think he like bellows so hard that the house shakes. And she says, one more moment. And she says, please send them a sign to make haste. She goes downstairs and he has like a sword in his hand. He grabs her by the hair and like goes to chop her head off. Magically, her brothers burst in there, chase him down, and murder him. And everyone lives happily ever after. That is Bluebeard, and I just think that's crazy. That is a crazy fairy tale. And I feel like that should have been in October. Like, that's an Edgar Allan Poe move, I feel. Or like a horror house. I don't know that. I don't watch a lot of horror. I read a lot of it, but not watch. I can't watch that kind of stuff. It freaks me out. But wow. Out of all the things that could be in that room, I did not expect dead women. But that is why fairy tales are not for children. But anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that fairy tale? And next week, we will be doing Jack the Giant Killer. That is the next story in this book. And how have you guys been enjoying the Fairy Tale Fridays? Please leave me a comment down below if you guys want to see more of these. I think I'm going to keep doing them until you guys just don't want them. So please let me know if yay or nay with a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys have a good weekend.